how to see the videos TikTok doesn't want you to see. So perhaps your community is full of people who aren't like you. Is that good or bad? It could rub off on you to the point where you're no longer authentically who you set out to be. And that's important to realize, that there's a danger in over associating with people who don't share your values. But that's not what I'm talking about. People who are either casual acquaintances in your community, or individuals who perhaps share your values but have a different subset of experiences in life. It's really important to include people in your community that aren't like you. Perhaps they don't look like you, they haven't been through the same life experience as you, maybe they don't even have some of the same goals you do. While we know that you don't want to just put a bunch of people together, there's no big difference between having like when you have a social media account full of bots and perhaps they have random responses that don't really mean much. That's the equivalent of smashing a bunch of random people together and calling it diversity. But to truly have diverse thinking and to be an outside of the box thinker,
think outside the box.
You're gonna have to expose yourself to people that you wouldn't necessarily agree with. Here's the best way to do it. It's best to maybe even think about having multiple social media accounts or profiles on like your Chrome browser, and using those profiles to purposely go past your first impression of a person. So on TikTok, for instance, while you're scrolling, you saw my face and you stuck around. And so now you're here. I'm not talking to the ones who kept moving, but if you're here, perhaps you think that I have something valuable to say because we obviously shared experience. Or you remember something I said before and thought this would probably also be valuable. The next person you come across may look nothing like me, and perhaps you even have seen them before and don't like their vibe.
I do not like the vibe here.
Well, why don't you push past that first impression and see what they have to say? Because if your goals are aligned and they just don't look the part, then you may be gathering touch points that will lead you to your goal from a person who's getting there from a completely different route. So perhaps you and I are perfectly aligned and we're on the same path. Anything I share with you may be something that just validates what you already know to be true, and we're moving toward the same location. Someone on the other end of the world, or a completely different spectrum of thought, perhaps they are headed the same place that we're headed, but they're coming at it from a different location. So what value is it in listening to them because we're not coming from their location? Well, some of the obstacles that they have learned to overcome and plan on sharing are obstacles that we would never see coming. And when we get hit with them, it could slow us down or even stop us. So it's really important to make sure that you push past your first impression. Now, you don't want to cloud your mind with things that are unhealthy for you. So this is not a consume everything conversation, because that can be dangerous. But if there's somebody who seems to have the aligned goals that you have and they just aren't clicking with your personality, perhaps just listen to the content as if you were reading it in an article, if you still do that. Perhaps take what they're saying and view it as if it was in an article. Take their face off of it and just listen, because maybe they have something very valuable to say that'll help you get over a hurdle that you never saw coming.